Hi people, welcome to Blue UK Jazz Dance, my legacy of leadership. I want to share with individuals. I'm renowned for creating my own projects to develop my self-leadership, leading others and leading organisations. I created a project called Dancing in the Spirit of Jazz from 1981. And what happened was I was asked a question in 1981, where did I learn to lead myself, lead others and lead organisations? And I said to them, in an individual, I outlined that, guess what? It was because my involvement in dance, basically, social dancing, and social dancing led to other activities. So basically, in my home, I created a character called The Adventures of Swing Kid, and it basically was storytelling. And I talked about what dance meant to me in that. And I first did that in Grenada, and then I came back to Britain and did that here in my school. That's important. And I created the character because I was written off as a special education needs child. I had problems with reading and writing, and I didn't have confidence. And what happened historically, you'll know, many parents sent their children to dance schools or drama schools or music schools to improve their children's confidence. Basically, they wanted to involve the children in what is called dance education, music education. It wasn't about making them musicians, it wasn't about making them dancers, it was about shaping, basically, skills for life. Leadership skills are important for life, if people got that right. Self-management skills are important for life. Ability to plan and organize is part of life. So basically, a number of activities are created to improve one's life skills, people skills, was important to parents. And what happened was, that was important to me as a person growing up who wanted to be a barrister, who wanted to be a cricketer, professional cricketer, and a person who wanted to be a dancer as part of my everyday life as something that I chilled out. So dance throughout my life improved my my skills. Now, one of the key things was I called it Dancing in the Spirit of Jazz because I told people, if you look at the jazz era, the similar developments happened for us in the UK jazz dance development, with African Caribbeans came here. They came from rural communities into urban cities. It was like in America when people left the rural south and went into the north. Yeah, they went into industrial cities. They found hardships. They had to struggle until they developed success. But what happened? Dancing, their rural activities of music, using music and dance as a way to survive and thrive, as a way to bond their communities, as a way to keep their morale and spirits high, was used successfully. It had been used successfully in the rural areas. They used in the urban areas, and that's how music dance developed. Now, one of the key things I talk about, dancing in the spirit of jazz, leading self, leading others, leading organizations, was one of the key things. Dance, me developing my own social dancing, other cultures wanted to learn it. So that was like Charleston, like our black dances, how black bottom dance got into Western communities. African diaspora people were the one that taught Westerners. That's how it was. So what happened, say for example, in a household that had maids, black butler, the black butler and the black maids were the ones teaching whites how to dance, or they introduced them into their communities to let the whites see them how to dance. Well, that's something that similar happened in Britain. When I went to primary school, what happened was I was the leading dancer in the school. I was good at creative dance, I was good at freestyle disco dancing, and I was good at European dancing. I was the best at all these dances. In the school, I was the disco champion in my primary school. Disco was a big thing in Britain. People wanted to learn freestyle disco. Well, basically, I taught a lot of the pupils in my school from day one. And I got some people to pay me to do that. I got some people to come to school an hour before school, and boys and girls wanted to learn disco dancing. That's how I was leading myself in doing that, and that's how I came to lead others. And people got that. What happened throughout my life was I told people in a number of areas where I developed my dance legacy of leadership, storytelling from very young, from 8 years old. I loved dance and I started to study dance. I became a preserver of dance. I got into the dance industry. Basically, I got into the dance industry from primary school. Basically, I was teaching others and getting paid. In secondary school too, boom, and outside the school, I was teaching a lot of people to disco dance. And I took them to clubs, venues where we went and danced. I took them there as an individual. That's most important. Dance and health has always been part of my life. My parents taught me to dance as part of my health and well-being from a very young age, and I've been an individual who talked a lot about that and led a lot of programs within youth work, within summer schools, black summer schools, within college. I've done programs to support students. There was a program called Student Empowering Students, talking about what dance does, etc. And then I'm involved as a person who's led in dance theatre as an individual. I've done more than that, but I wanted to just share with individuals. This is where some of the key areas where I learned to lead myself, lead others, and lead organizations, and doing it from a training perspective. I was an individual brought into Europe as a British representative, and I was a British representative in Britain, meeting international students and homegrown students, talking about what dance did for me, and I talked about how it led to me leading myself, leading others, and leading organizations. And then I've been a British representative in Europe, where I've gone there on the back of projects that I created. I went into Europe talking about British initiatives, how we use dance. And I was an individual who had the opportunity to share with individuals how I use dance. Dance, give people an overview of dance within the black home, African diaspora home, within the community, beyond the community, within organizations that I was in, where I learned ballet, where I learned tap, where I learned contemporary, where I learned modern, where I learned African, organizations, and talked about how I came to lead organizations was through my knowledge of leading dance, my knowledge of directing, producing, choreographing, initiating projects myself, led to people calling me to help them do their projects. That is how I came to lead organizations. I came in to be a consultant for many organizations also. People visiting, as individual, people got to know I was an individual who could lead, could consult people, and help consult for people, be an advisory consultant for people who want to do education projects, wanted to do arts, dance in the community, and dance in the creative culture industries. I had knowledge of this, and I was asked to come in and be a leader. Anyway, I'm just giving people an overview of my dance legacy of leadership. And basically, it started from doing a one-man show at the age of 8 years old, my involvement in dance preservation, being involved in the dance industry, dance and health, and dance theatre. And my leadership is one of action, not position. I wasn't in as an individual. It was my action, not me being in dance position, that enabled people to call me, empower. And what happened was people came to find me in the community, or I was directed to people. So, example, a group came from South Africa, and they wanted to do educational work within the UK, within the educational setting, because I'd been involved as a dancer in many educational groups, as an educator, as an African dancer, as a contemporary dancer, as a jazz dancer, as a Caribbean dancer, as a hip-hop dancer, as a UK jazz dancer. People called me, and said this was the ideal person for you to do what you're doing. I wasn't in a position like some people were in an establishment. I created my own groups, and people came to me to find me and my groups and said, look, we believe you're the ideal person to do what they need to do, because you have a wider scope than most people. And that was one of the key things I had. I was involved in Western world of dance. I was involved in the African world of dance. I was involved in the Caribbean world of dance, which is important. I was involved in the experimental world of dance, the avant-garde world of dance, undergrounds of different cultures, because people forget underground and experimental dancing happens within the African diaspora world as well as the Western world. People need to understand that, as well as the Asian world. People need to understand what I'm saying. I was involved in this because I had an interest in dance preservation, and dance preservation means you look at a wide range of cultural groups of dances. The most important thing I'm involved in as a leader was I identified to people from the beginning, look at the roots of our urban dances, which is important, because what happened was the roots of our heritage dances informed our derivative dances. And because for us, for example, West Indian culture was lost, our African heritage culture was lost because of slavery and colonialization, and we didn't realize that our social dances were actually our ritual dances taken away. And what happened, the only way you're going to find that, have an understanding of that, if you studied your heritage dancings, you see exactly some of the similar moves in urban dance that are the same in the traditional dances. So I very much encourage people to look at traditional dances. My dad's Jamaican, my mum's Grenadian. If you see some of the moves that are in Jamaica in the traditional dance, you see them in today's dancing. If you look in Grenada, look at their dances, their traditional dances and folk dances, you see the same dances are part of the urban dances. And what happens is, for a person to lead, it's important for you to be self-aware. You need to be self-aware of your development and how your dances develop, which is important. And that's one of the things I'm renowned for. I'm renowned for my dance preservation, my research into dance. Basically, I came up with saying, seek your roots, not the fruit of the dance. So, example, hip-hop dancing. If you see traditional African dance, you see exactly the same moves. The b-boying, b-girling, them moves existed a long time ago. And what's happening is the music is evoking them moves. But most hip-hop dancers don't study African dance. They don't try to find, not say they don't try to find, sometimes it's not in their environment, is the videos of traditional dancing. Now, I was an individual who got in touch with people, with professors of dance who had resources, who worked in established universities. Have you got that? So I got to see video footage of traditional dances that showed me the roots, the development of my traditional dance, which is important. So, example, UK jazz dance styles. If you look at hornpipe, if you look at the jig, if you look at the reel, if you look at clog, you can see within UK jazz dance, them dances are there. But most people don't look at hornpipe, they don't look at the reel, they don't look at clog. Do you understand? You have to look into the father of jazz, which is called Master Juba. And Master Juba combined the jig, the clog, and hornpipe with African American dances, and African American dances are a mixture of West Indian dances and African American dances that evolved together. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's important for people to have that knowledge because it gives you greater understanding of how to self-lead yourself. Self-leadership requires you to become self-aware, self-knowledgeable about who you are, what you are, and where you come from. My dancing, UK jazz dance, says who I am, what I am, where I'm come from. My social dances say who I am, what I am. Not dances. My dances say something about me. And my leadership empowered me. Leading self empowered me to be more self-aware. Leading others empowered me to be more self-aware. And leading organizations made me self-aware that you need knowledge, experience, and skills to do so. Blue K Jazz Dance out.